Hello, this is Carrie, and I am going to show you how to change out the circuit board inside of the SkeinTwister. Reason that you might have to do this at some point, possibly, although hopefully not, is has to do with these connectors. Like if any of them get like really yanked on or tweaked or something like that, then either power or the foot pedal might not make proper connection anymore. And since those are soldered into the circuit board, the easiest way to replace them is to just swap out the circuit board. So yeah, first of all, you'll need some tools. First of all, you'll need the circuit board itself in its nice little static bag here. Keep it in its static bag until you're ready to use it. A word about static safety, and especially if you notice yourself going around zapping things, take particular care. The kind of work surface is somewhat important, like wood or sort of this normal desktop, I don't know, like coated melamine or whatever it is pretty good, or a metal bench is perfectly fine. What you want to stay away from is plastic, especially those like plastic folding tables and the plastic folding chairs. They tend to be really, really good sources of static with which you could actually zap a board and cause it not to work, and that would be sad. So the other thing is once you sit down, just do this all at once and don't move, and that will also help prevent you from building up static if you're just like staying in one spot. All right, so those are the basic things. Oh, little dish for screws, that's super handy. This is your kind of general number 2 screwdriver. Need that for the wood screws. This one's optional. It's a number 1 screwdriver. I just find it a little bit more comfortable for some of the smaller screws. This is a 2.5mm flathead screwdriver, and you'll need that to release the motor wires. These, if you don't have one of these on hand, it's like a little bit of a specialty item, but it can be found very, very easily online. I can sell one to you too. I have a bunch of them. And you can also get them at places that have tools for like fixing computers and doing electronics work. So even kind of Staples and Best Buy might have them. Then I like to use sockets to undo the nuts around the connectors. And if you have sockets, then you'll need a number 15 and a number 10. If you don't have sockets, that's fine. You can totally use like a little small adjustable wrench. And you don't need the handle for the socket, by the way. That actually, allows you to kind of over tighten them. So I just do them finger tight with the actual sockets themselves. All right, so that is it for tools. Scoot those over there. Step 1, undo the base screws. And this is kind of boring, so feel free to fast forward through me doing this if you want. A little dish there. Keep all of my screws in one place and from rolling around. Okay, and now the SkeinTwister just comes right off of the base. Let's put the base aside. You can turn the SkeinTwister over, and it's totally fine to just like gently lay it on the knob and hook. You can totally keep the hook in during this whole thing. You don't need to take that out. So then I like to use the smaller number 1 screwdriver for these, but as you can see, like a number 2 also fits it, so you can still use your number 2 if that's all that you have. No big deal. All right, and then this lid just pops right off. And there you go, SkeinTwister guts. Woo! All right, so first we just unplug this connector right here, and it's grabbed in there pretty well. Just give it like a good little tug and it'll come right out. Pop, no big deal, yay. And then you want to undo these 2 screws right there and right there that hold the motor wires in. and basically just untwist them, unscrew them until the heads of the screws are almost flush with the top of this plastic terminal block, and you'll feel them. They'll actually kind of stop turning at some point in time, so I don't think it's possible to actually undo. I guess it maybe is possible to undo them all the way. So yeah, just so that they're flush is good. See if I can get like a little more light in here. I don't know. It's kind of hard because it's shadowed. I'll get a good video set up one of these days. So when those are just flush with the top there, you can kind of see it maybe, sure. Then you should just be able to pull these wires out. But before you do that, you might want to take note of which is in what position. Maybe take a picture with your camera right now. That would be a good idea. Just so that you can put them in the same position when they're when you put the new circuit board back in. If you swap the order of the wires, it'll just turn in the opposite direction. There is also like a tiny little legend right here as to which color should be in this bottom one. So it says black CW/red/CCW. So you can see this one, since the black one is in the lower one, it's set up to go clockwise. So yeah, now you can just pull those right out now that those screws have been loosened. And then just undoing these two nuts is it. And so for this, I just take the socket, the 15mm one goes on the big black one, and you should just be able to, with your fingers, turn it. Or, you know, if you have your wrench here, you can just use the wrench to undo it. Either one, but after the first little twist, you should be able to do it by hand. And then this one is your 10mm. You should just be able to do the same thing. Now this this connector, it will probably either have, whoop, don't lose your nuts. It will either have like a flat washer, like a really skinny flat washer like this, or it'll have like a really thick split one. If don't worry about the really big split one. Your new board will come with all of the hardware it needs. So just push this hardware off to the side and don't worry about it. And now you can take this board out. Ta-da! And now is the time to take this guy out of the bag and stick your new board in. You'll have to undo the nuts first. Black one, shiny silver one. And if your new one did not come with a little washer there, don't worry about it. These big, thick split washer guys, they're nice for really locking it in place, but it also makes it really easy to cross thread it. So don't worry about putting that big one back on. It's just sort of a nice to have. It's not totally necessary. And so when you're putting these back on, also be aware that especially for the black one, it's just a plastic thread, and both of them can kind of be easy to cross thread. So just be gentle, and like if you feel like it's like really resisting you screwing on, just unscrew it and start it, kind of, you know, wiggle it around a little bit, start it again. So now I'm just doing them so that they're just barely tight and hanging on there. And the same for this guy. All right. And now I just take the socket and gently, I mean, especially for this plastic one, just do it so it's just ever snug. Like, it should not be hard. Don't like really crank on it at all. Just snug is fine with that one. And pretty much the same thing for this. Just do it till it's snug. And that's good. Awesome. So now we'll put the motor wires back in. And like, I don't know if you can see, but this red one here is like a little bit untidy. It's just, it kind of has like a little bit of a, one of these strands is kind of sticking out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of like pull it and retwist it, make it nice and tidy. Make sure your wires are nicely plied, basically. And then I think one at a time is easier, so I bend one to be kind of 90 degrees like that. And if we remember correctly, red was closest to the wall here. So just stick the red guy in. And if you feel or see any of the strands kind of bending back on itself, just kind of start over, take it out, retwist it like I just did, and then do it again. And then as I'm holding the wire in place, I just tighten this guy up. Again, gentle, just make sure that it's like snug, but like not super cranked. It's electronics, not a car. So, you know, black one goes in the same way. And then I just do a little, and then I just like ever so lightly, like kind of tug on it just to make sure, you know, just to make sure that it doesn't very easily fall out. So that's it. And then you can plug this guy in here. Notice that there is really only one way that you can plug it in. It doesn't go in that way. It's keyed to these two little grooves there. So that just goes in one way. And that's it. You got your board all done. So now, oh, make sure that the wires are kind of tidy and not overlapping the lip so that they don't get caught in there. So make sure your motor wire is nice and tidy. Make sure this guy's nice and tidy. And then there you go. Screw in your screws and you'll be good to go. All right. And as always, you can, if you have any questions during this process, you can email me, info@alpenglowyarn.com, or send me a message through the alpenglowyarn.com website contact form. Awesome. You're now totally official SkeinTwister repair technician. Good job.